Final night of the regular season, and the Purple and Gold still have playoff position on the line in Game 82 tonight versus the Utah Jazz. Luke Kennard continues to prove he's more than just a shooter. He's averaging right around 15 points and 8 assists in his last 4 games. And as for LeBron James, we'll see if he suits up for the regular season finale. We'll keep you updated on his status as tip-off approaches. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet's Lakers, brought to you by Mercury Insurance. I'm Chris McGee, and you are James Worthy. Hi, big game. We got Mike Trudell on the way, too, and Allie's down there also.
Yeah, who's on the way?
Fitting Game 82. We're going to start.
Yeah, this is the last game.
Just the two of us.
82, just the two of us.
14th season together.
Yeah.
I heard Rob might be joining us.
Just the two of us.
Halfway through the show. Have you heard
Rob's
that?
on the way. You know, he just got back from Japan,
yes,
so he's probably a little, jet lagged. Yeah. He was here the other night.
He was.
You know, for the couple of times that I've been a little tardy.
Does this feel good in your end right now?
Yes. Feels good for the couple of times that I've been a tardy, and he's covered for me. Rob, I got your back.
I mean, you got to let him have it when he gets in here.
Nah, it's all good.
You'll let him slide in? Okay. All right, Game 82 today, James. We know the Lakers will have home court advantage in the playoffs. What we don't know is their seed and opponent. Those answers riding on our game as well as the Nuggets-Spurs game. And, of course, that's going on at the same time. Nuggets one ahead in the win column, but Lakers have the tiebreaker. If Lakers win, Denver loses, LA's 3. They'll play Minnesota. Any scenario that the Nuggets win, Lakers are number 4 and will face the Houston Rockets. All right. I think it's a pretty easy question, but let's talk goals for tonight. My number one, I'm just going to throw it out to you, even though no one cares about my response.
Sure they do.
Health. That's really my goal. But you tell me from another perspective, what are you looking for tonight?
Well, when you say health, everybody stay healthy, no injuries.
Yep.
Yeah, that's number one for sure, Gita, without question. The other thing is, with the playoffs approaching, you're going to be without 2 of your dynamic players, Luka and Austin Reeves. I bet you that the coaching staff is looking for about maybe 10 to 12, 15 minutes of getting some rotations in there, just to take a look at maybe a new play, maybe a new system, or not a new system, but a new way of looking at things with Jake on the floor, with Marcus Smart. I'm not sure if they're who's playing or not, but guys like Maxey and Timmy. He's gonna take a look and see. Maybe give LeBron a few minutes with those guys. They don't have a lot of practice time against other teams, so this would be, even though Utah, you don't know how they're going to approach the game. So those are the 2 things I'm looking at. Number 1 priority is health, and then give some of those guys who need to get some time on the court, run a few sets or something that they have had issues with, get a little practice time during this game for the coaching staff.
Yeah, I like what you're saying right there, because for me, I'm not sure the win or loss matters. Of course, we always want to win, but still practicing the good habits, like you said, getting that 15 to 20-minute burn just to keep the legs going, because you are going to be off all the way until Saturday or Sunday, so not a bad idea to get a little run here, but just make sure that everyone is okay going into the week. So the Utah Jazz, they're sitting there young talent. They're tied with Sacramento for the 4th worst record in the NBA. They're actually coming off a win, by the way. They can score 140 points, but they still find a way to lose on a lot of these nights. But they do have some nice young players. I was looking at that roster today. Markkanen, they made that trade for Jackson Jr. George has been fantastic. Remember, Walker Kessler only played 5 games this year. Yeah. He's a hot commodity out there in the NBA. So the young talent is there for this team. I guess their priority, James, their goal, best pick possible, right? Because there's some young talent there, but they are a team maybe can make a jump next year. Well, we've seen in the NBA, these young teams are getting
you build around Markkanen, that's an extreme talent right there. And then other players that you mentioned, good role players. So if they get a good pick, Geeter, they have made some noise in the last couple of years. I know they had some injuries, some players out, but Utah's a team that's, this is a good organization. They've always seem to stay in, and flow with the rest of the league and making the playoffs and things of that nature. So we'll see. We'll see what happens over the summer, if they make any major moves or get a pick that they, can work with what they have.
And you look at some of these teams that are now in the playoffs, and actually some that are title contenders, you're missing the playoffs for a bunch of years, and you're hitting on draft picks. Then you get a trade, you get that free agent. And maybe the Utah's one of those teams, like the Spurs, like Detroit, that's at the bottom of the standings, but then can start to climb out because the talent is there.
Who knows? I don't think,
we'll see.
I don't think they're in like, when you think of like players like Giannis and players like that, I don't think Utah's.
Nope. So you got to build through the draft, right?
You got to go in the draft.
Yeah, and get a couple trades here and there. All right, let's take a look at the injury reports. Jackson Hayes is out. LeBron James questionable still. We'll hear from Mike Trudell in a moment. He's managing all his nagging injuries, but he has been fantastic as of late and throughout the year. We'll talk about him in a moment. Let's get to the arena. Let's check in with Mike Trudell, Lakers reporter, standing by with more Game 82, the Iron Man, Mike Trudell, ladies and gentlemen.
Game 82, guys. Nice to see you as always. And we know the Lakers will have home court next week, Geeter. We just don't know yet who the opponent will be, as you detailed. Could be Houston, could be Minnesota, depending on what happens in this game, and of course depending on what happens for that Denver game at San Antonio. And this is something that JJ Redick was asked about, and there's a part of the coach's brain, and for JJ it's probably a smaller amount, but somebody on his staff is going to be following that closely. Yet that doesn't really impact how the Lakers are going to play this one, right? They're going to play the starters a certain number of minutes, but nobody's going to be playing 30 plus, or certainly not high 30s in this one, as they want to try to keep pushing what they have been pushing this last week. How do they optimize the play without Luka Doncic, without Austin Reeves, until one or both come back, and then they worry about the opponent later. So here's JJ on that and kind of how he relays that mindset to his team.
Look, we're going to control what we can control. We'll I'm sure have check-ins on what's going on in that game, but we're gonna try to continue to build with this group, and that's the goal for today. There's going to be a couple guys that will, Spart's still going to be on a minutes restriction, but there'll be a couple other guys that nobody's going to play 36 minutes, 38 minutes tonight. So, we're going to try to find the balance. Obviously, there are teams that have the luxury of resting everybody, and for us, we need with this group to continue to build and continue to have positive progress, and that's the goal for today.
JJ, you guys signed Nick up to be your 15th man, be playoff eligible. What went into that decision? Adding someone like Nick versus adding another big man like Timmy for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a difficult decision. Drew's been awesome for us. Frankly, we're missing two of our ball handlers, and two of our primary ball handlers, and we need Nick. We need a shooting as well. So a lot of discussion and a lot of debate over the last few days about that.
Yeah, Geeter, that is a tough one, right? Drew Timme really was excellent for the Lakers in whatever role that they asked him to play. And as JJ just said, thinking about the roster depth without Luka Doncic and without Austin Reeves, having another guy in there that can make a play, that can go score a bucket from the perimeter, ends up being the choice that they make. And again, I'm sure that was a tough one for JJ to have to relay. Now, in the meantime, we just did find out, and Geeter, this is what we thought, but LeBron is available. He's been upgraded to available. Would not expect him to play too many minutes north of 30, but just getting him out there so essential for the rest of the roster, because he now, of course, is key to everything that they do on the basketball court. Not that he hasn't always been, Geeter.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that update. We were kind of touching on that right before we went to you there. That's kind of what we thought would happen, but just got the official word. And we'll talk Drew Timme and Nick Smith Jr. later in the show. And Mike's right. That's obviously a tough decision. We love both guys. Listen, LeBron will play tonight, and he has been, listen, we've talked a lot about it. These games without Luka and AR, it's what he's been doing for over 2 decades, James, kind of leading the way and doing his thing. And, you're kind of running out of ways to describe him at 41 years old, because we just haven't seen anyone do it at this stage in their career.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a miracle at this point that he's still doing what he does, but he enjoys it, Geeter. Here's a guy that, like, okay, I'm getting ready to pass the torch over to Luka, and he did.
Yep.
And then Austin Reeves comes in. He says, okay, that's the number 2 option. I'm cool with that. I'm going to go over here, play off ball, play in the dunker's corner, abuse people in the post, and he was doing that all during that run. Come home, unfortunately, get 2 guys injured. He's like, okay, I'm going to go back to doing what I know I can do. He's still in great shape. He doesn't seem to be have any nagging injuries, although we know he's sore and has some of those. But I think he embraces this. Okay, let me be the one, now that Luka and Austin is down, to serve Jake LaRavia, Jackson Hayes. Hey, let me be the one now, along with Marcus Smart. His leadership is going to be critical going forward in the first round. So, but this is what he does. He enjoys what he does. He loves basketball, and he's going to take this challenge on.
You know what's interesting, James, when you think of all the all-time greats and when they've teamed up, right? You think of the dream team with Kobe, LeBron, Chris Paul, Carmelo, KD. This is when Kobe was his last Olympics, right? He has to play a different role. We've seen it with Magic and Bird and Jordan. Everyone, guys have done the greatest of all time. Just know how to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
They adjust to whatever you got to do.
Pat Riley came to Magic after, Magic had been in the league, even though he had that great rookie year where he was MVP. But he was mostly a distributor. Jamal Wilkes, Bob McAdoo, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Then all of a sudden in 1987, Rouse came to him and said, look, Kareem's getting a little older. James, is going to be in the post. We need you to score more this year. Yeah. He ended up, I think, being most valuable player of the year. And he did it. He just switched a button, and it just came to him.
It's the IQ, right?
It's IQ and knowing the scope of the game, understanding everybody's position, having experienced everything. So, yeah, LeBron, it's a challenge for him. I know he'd love to have his teammates. But, hey, they're fighters, and it's going to be interesting to see how they can, form a group without Luka and Austin that will fight. Yeah. They will fight and play hard.
It just took a little bit of time, too. I think that's what people have never understood. Like, as soon as they got game